expected it.
Oh, Kisee! Hey guys, welcome back to the LCO delivered by Menulog. You guys better believe that you're in for a scorcher. We had one big banger game to start the day, and we've got another big banger game right here. Form check for Order and for Peace as well. Order, look, they haven't been looking as hot as what you would expect from the split one, champions. But Peace as well, we expected a lot from them because last split they played out of their minds. They've got the carry god of the LCO back. They've got Violet, and it just hasn't quite been working as expected either. So let's look at this Order roster. Let's have a quick gander, quick gaze at what they're bringing in and what Goodo can do to maybe change the pace again. We've enjoyed what we've seen from him, but maybe some other pieces of the puzzle just aren't falling into place, Rusty.
Yeah, I mean, overall, Order still feel fine. They just seem to be missing that spark that helps them beat teams like the Chiefs, right? Like Pentanet.gg when it comes to it. And realistically, what we saw from them yesterday was a very awkward draft, I guess, is the way I would explain it. Very early pick of the Xerath was just handled nicely. Yuri comes up basically as the MVP, so the lane matchup mid wasn't ideal. Last time we saw Order before this was a Zoe pick that did a lot of work in mid, but struggled to get around the map again. So, I mean, in my mind, put all of those things into a basket. What I would like to see is a Twisted Fate instead. Just go everywhere on the map, influence the side lanes, work with Goodo because that's what Goodo excels at.
Okay.
I think that's the missing link for me for at least a short-term stopgap for Order to bring them closer to their best.
And we know Kisee can play that as well. We saw him play it a couple of times since he has been playing here in the LCO. I think he even played it last split once or twice.
I believe once last split.
Yeah, at least once. So that's a good thing to have a quick think about maybe in terms of that draft going into today's game. But of course, it is a battle of the two teams as per usual here in League of Legends. So let's have a look at the Peace roster as well and see what they are bringing in today. It's the same old thing, but it should work out. LeeSA, of course, still sporting that mullet as well. I wonder if he'll put his hair on the line like Bulldog did, Skimmy.
I don't think so. It's just too luscious. I mean, honestly, that is a defining factor at this point, right? It's almost like the COVID lockdown buff. So I would love to see LeeSA really pop off, right? Because that LeeSA game last night left a lot to be desired, right? A few of those desperation flash kicks not really landing as we know characteristically is a signature of his. I think despite what we heard from the interview saying that Thien's not going to have too much fun, he can't be that, that carry that we know he can be in the top lane. He still played the GP. He did like 48% of his team's damage in that game last night. He was really trying his hardest. But ultimately, it just was not enough in the end to try and get that win. And I think, we're really looking at Apii and LeeSA looking to try and step up because I think Violet is certainly doing whatever he could. In a game like that up against the Cow, double exhaust, sure, it's nice. But as I think Rusty mentioned, right, would love a cleanse. I think the big similarity for me between both of these teams is when it's come push to shove, both Puma and Violet have basically said, give all the farm to me and we will try and win this game. Both of them have the records right now, the most farm, averaging like 11 CS per minute. They're just trying their absolute hardest to say, we're the guys that aren't playing the Lucian, right? We are the guys that are all about these hyper-skilling champions. Invest in me and maybe it's enough.
Well, the thing I want to talk about is when did we last get to see Puma and Violet go head-to-head? It's been a while now. So it's really their chance to show who's this better ADC today. And I feel like that's going to be a big talking point.
Yeah, absolutely it is. I mean, ADCs is like our natural progression, I think, for lanes that we want to look at first. I also think the top lane's got a chance to be really explosive here with BioPanther's new creative picks. He was actually winning his lane yesterday on the Mordekaiser, so there's a lot to look forward to, I think, in general from Order. I just really want to see Peace have, like, LeeSA had a shocker. Yeah. LeeSA had, there's no other word I could think of as a shocking game on LeeSA, and it was not great. He needs to lift the most, and that's also the player alongside Apii that we said needs to lift the most for Peace in contrast.
Yeah, 100%. Now, someone that has been lifting recently is who we have on the line. Kitty, would you like to introduce your mate?
Beep, boop, 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 beep. Hello? Oh, is that Kisee on the other side of the line? Hello, Kisee. How have we been?
Yeah, been doing pretty good.
Great to hear.
These last pretty games have been like pretty disappointing, to be honest. But aside from that, yeah, just doing pretty good.
Well, I have a few questions for you. Mostly it to do with the experience over from MSI? You know, coming back, did you feel like, you know, all the scrim, all the prac over there is definitely going to do you wonders going into this split, and how that's going to help you guys, you know, perform against all odds after losing Kevy, and also with Goodo coming in? Do you find, you know, playing with him as your mid-jungle duo now, is it better for you? Do you feel like you get more space to do what you want?
Yeah, like both their playstyles are completely different. It's kind of too early to say like if it's better for me, because like, you know, it's the start of the season. But I think we're still getting used to Goodo and how he plays, and yeah, we'll just see how it turns out, to be honest. But
And
yeah, both their playstyles.
I need answers to my questions. So we saw Xerath for the second time last night, where it was quite a high prioritized mid laner champion for Order. So would you like to elaborate on why you guys decided to opt into that?
Oh, we just thought it would be too late mid, to be honest. That's why we just slammed into Xerath Jarvan. Because, yeah, we didn't think Balkan would play it and Euro would play like another AP mid. Because we thought having double mage mid was pretty bad. But then they locked in Galio, and yeah, we didn't think that far.
Okay. And look, in one word, I want you to summarize what you're going to do to Peace today.
I'm going to have a good game with them.
Well, that was more than one word. So, look, your counting skills need some work, but hopefully you smash them in the Rift today. Let's see how that one goes. Thanks, Kisee, for coming on for
Thank
the
you,
pre-match.
Kisee.
See ya.
Always good to chat to him. That was pretty hard. You know.
Pretty wholesome.
One word's hard.
Yeah, one word is hard.
Like, what are you going to do to your opponents today? In one word.
I would have just said epic.
Win.
Kill.
Kill.
Like, yeah.
Destroy.
Like, there's one word's actually really hard for that.
Destroy.
We're
You know,
just
literally
gonna have
anything.
a good game.
It's, yeah.
Yeah, leave it at that, Mag.
Good luck, have fun.
I don't want to be a clip that
We're going to
gives
have a
me-
good game. The faster you say it, the more it sounds like one word, right? Now, look,
Sure.
let's talk to you guys at home. Their fan vote time. Twitch points on the line again. Maybe I baited you to, you know, go for my prediction of Mammoth and maybe lean that way. Sorry, it was my fault for, you know, losing a couple of your Twitch points. But now's your chance to get them back. Put them in for the Dare fan vote for this game. Again, I think this is going to be potentially a close split across the board in the Dare fan vote, as well as in our predictions. So let's have a look at which way we think this one's going to go.
Wow.
Okay, no split. We're all on the order side of things.
I thought there was a peace vote right there.
You doing?
Peace
Huh?
enthusiasts might jump on board.
I thought it was like in your contract. Buy us a piece. What happened there?
It happens.
It just happens.
Just explain why Order are going to win for us.
Yeah, that
Order's going to win today because I saw some major mistakes coming out of Peace last night. It was quite jarring, is the word I was looking for, because you could see the miscommunication, especially coming out of Apii and Violet, where if you guys remember properly, Apii had a really early gank in that bot lane where it had burnt 2 flashes from Peace and they didn't result in a kill. I think that's when you know that something's going on wrong in the team. And when Violet got caught on mid, like Praetor's moment, but it's a little Violet moment this time, I feel like the team just weren't communicating in a way where they expected that, and they weren't prepared for that catch. And I think this is going to be a really devastating mistake that they have to actually fix, because they're gonna lose.
I think you raised a good point, actually, because like you said it on the cast as well, when Gunkrab flashed forward to try and back up that kill from Apii, he just flashed forward as a Lulu. Glitter Lanson's like, oh, have I got it? And then like Violet's kind of just like, well, I'm getting CS, like what's going on here, right? So it's a bit of like a calamity of errors all happening at once. You're thinking it's not really promising signs, and yeah.
Very worried.
Well, look, it's sometimes a calamity, but it's sometimes good news. And the good news is Champ Select is ready. So let's jump on into Game 3 for the day.
Champ Select is ready. So let's see what happens this time around. Will Order overthink things and confuse themselves in the draft? Will they give themselves an easy to execute comp to play?
Yeah, the funny thing is that was my only thought for the Xerath block-in as well, right? Because like we spoke about it even during the champion select on the Xerath pick. It was like, well, it outranges Talia, it wins that matchup, but like it's Balkan. So
And we know he plays it.
and we know he plays that. So it came as no surprise to us as viewers even talking about it, but it was clearly a surprise to Order, but they learned the hard way, and we won't see that again. We'll go into this draft instead.
He did bring a valid point, though. It doesn't seem too often that we see double mid, double AP rather, in that sort of part of the map. So I can understand if we give him a little bit of credit on that regard. But regardless, we're into draft. We'll see what happens this time around. Order going to go for that first pick in Wukong. It's certainly what we've seen in recent games go by, the responses with GP ban, that Peace would then lock in the Gwen and say that we'll pick up the Senna as well and say we could take the Senna literally anywhere. It doesn't have to be the Tahm Kench, but it has been so far.
And it doesn't look like there'll be a Gangplank handshake. It's going to be the Wukong for the Gwen basically as the transaction. Karma taken off the board, Talia taken off the board here as well. You've got strong bottom lane duos that could still be locked in here. That's definitely something to look forward to. This would be interesting if Tristana's the path that they want to take. In my mind, Tristana's still flexible with mid lane, but Trist usually pairs with something like an Alistar or a Nautilus, you know, something that's usually hyper aggressive as a melee support bottom. Wall is known as a scaling champ. I mean, ought to just listen to me, didn't they? I like that.
You said, give me TF and I'll be a happy man.
Big fan.
Boom.
I mean, I also said this is potentially a stopgap, right? For like the solution short term for what they want to fix in a long-term problem, which is adapting Goodo into the squad. So, I mean, I'm a fan of this actually. We'll see how it goes because it is still a blind TF with lots yet to be shown. TF can also be countered if the Gwen goes mid. I just want to throw that idea out there. You can't hit a gold card if Apii plays it. Apii's also been a top laner in a past life, so just keep that in mind. The Tristana, just to quickly finish my point, you would expect goes with a melee support champion. Knowing that you're into Senna, Tahm, Kench means that's certainly possible.
What would you fancy? Brom?
I mean, Braum could work. I don't think I would go for Braum into that bottom lane. I probably would go more of the Alistar.
Okay. More initiation. I suppose Nautilus, Brom is much more of that last pick.
They banned Silas, right? Because Silas is a good 4-5 ban into a TF. You go Alistar because then they can't steal the Alistar ultimate.
A classic.
Then you've got a comp.
It is a classic.
And then I'm happy.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
As long as you're happy, as long as you're having a good time. Well, I'm having a good time on the couch here with you. The Kel's been banned away, which, you know, top of the show, we were thinking it would seem a little bit criminal to ban that away, but that's the point we're at.
Yeah, I mean, we saw one big KO performance. Taking that one away is interesting. It does make you wonder, how does Gwen versus KO go? Is that a concern for Thien, or is that really a flexible Gwen, right, where they're just getting rid of what is a strong option for order? For BioPanther, I wouldn't say Bio has a whole host of carry options. Kale is certainly one of them.
I think it's a consideration, right? Especially when, you know, you're thinking that GP and Kale should be able to scale along quite nicely with each other. Who can have the most impact? Well, ultimately, there was no denying that Thien's GP was strong, but the Kale found a little bit more success in that one. We're going to remove the Galio and the Nocturne, so saying, we want the globals. We've removed 3 from our side. We got to be the ones that are deploying on the map first.
And I mean, if this is locked in, it could be expected. LeeSa also going to be a perpetual option here for LeeSa, though after his performance yesterday, he might genuinely be a little bit apprehensive for that. May want to go back into a week of scrims with it to mentally reset on the pick.
Sure. There
were some really rough combos. It is enough to scar you for the rest of the competitive week. So it is just going to be the Viego that gets locked in here. I would like something that works with the Viego and the Gwen, because right now this composition is very good at going forwards. Senna is one of those champions that can kind of be self-sufficient. We'll see where they choose to go, especially with the Galio taken off the board and order. They have gone for the Gwen answer in top lane.
Yeah, Bio takes that, doesn't he? He's probably one of the only Jax players we've had in recent times that will be willing to play it and showcase what he can do with it. So I'm very excited to see how that top lane matchup does play out. But how do Order round out this composition, and then what will that response be for Peace? Because if you're looking at Order right now, you're thinking maybe it's just a little bit more AP.
Rell, okay.
No, okay.
Yeah, so an aggressive and engaged support, right? That is kind of, you pick the Trist, this should be known by Peace also, should come as no surprise for them. Very curious to see where they choose to go for their last pick here, because we've highlighted a couple times that Gwen could flex, presumably is going to be a mid lane option though. If that is the case, Ari is up, where I would say, you know, Galio LeBlanc gone. In terms of Apii's comfort champions, that stands out. This is another, like new meta addition, you would say, to the mix for sure.
And I really enjoyed this from Mammoth the other day as well, right? I was singing its praises of mid-jungle duo where you spawn the souls, you claim the souls, you just run rampant, right? You get that first kill, it resets into infinity, and Order certainly have 3 members that are going to be right in your face saying, look, especially as the Rell, we want to shred all those shields, we want to cancel out the entire ultimate of a Tahm Kench, but we will pay a price if we're that overextended for it.
Yeah, and the flexibility of the Senna Tahm Kench, right? If it's Order going forwards, Tahm Kench can protect Senna, they're perfectly fine. The rest of the team are self-sufficient. So Peace have a comp that feels like a bunch of individualists chucked together into a solid composition where Lissandra really does round it out with engage. That is the one thing I think their composition really wanted. It sets up Viego for early laning phase. They can move together to side lanes and come team fights. Like you mentioned, they can get the resets for LeeSA and start to go crazy with the fights, where I feel like for Order, I think it's pretty straightforward looking at their comp, what you would expect to see from them. Goodo, Kisee affecting side lanes, Puma, Corporal, the most likely place that they would go. But when you pick TF, Jax is such a good option because he can be hyper aggressive in his lane. And Gwen versus Jax is such a duelist nightmare. You have to play perfectly, and really throwing a spanner into the works with a global champion makes it so hard to beat Thien.
No doubt BioPanther is thriving in these moments, right? We can really bring it to somebody like Thien, who's always keen, always game to try and take on those 1v1 duels. And certainly a Twist of Fate can look to upset that balance, but I'm really excited to see what this Lissandra looks like, especially looking to try and shut down Puma if he is to try and take ahead of this game and really showcase his brilliance as an individual in that role. What I suppose sings to me is this will be the first time we've seen Violet and Gunkrab play the Senna Tahm Kench together. Given that they are both AD carry players, it's exciting to see that, if they can do it, they could always flex it around.
And if anyone could farm as a support, it's got to be an AD carry turn support player in Gunkrab here. So expecting good things from Crabbles. Tristana Rell as a response to this. I wouldn't say that this is the most seen matchup for me, but Tristana's hyper aggression, Senna's low base health, definitely a factor as to how a Trist and a Rell could make this work. And also Tahm Kench pre-6 has no tools to save you. So there is a real world where like an Ignite Rell just goes straight in level 2, they get first blood, and it's just lights out for Peace.
Certainly very volatile and certainly very exciting for all the viewers and ourselves watching along to see what happens here in this game as what's really been described by Mac as that form check. Order, a few woes since they've returned from MSI as the champions from Split 1, and for Peace, having upgraded their roster, you would say, haven't been able to find their footing. We'll get to see what it all looks like as we load into this one, and as we do, we get to have a few moments with one of the coaches, and this time from Order. Series, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Well, I have to ask, I mean, you look at the competition, we've had a few conversations, I suppose, about, what it's been like coming back from MSI, but, moving forward, how would you rate the competition now compared to last split?
Personally, I think it's too early to say, but my initial impression is that not much has changed. Even though there's a lot of roster swaps, I think the big one would obviously be Chiefs switching out Draku for Aladoric. I think Aladoric functions quite similarly as what they need from Draku because the rest of the map demands that role from him. So even though he's visibly a better player, I think that functionally Chiefs will be a similar team, and they're the biggest worry that we have.
No doubt about it. Obviously, we're excited to see what that could look like, given that was your grand final to close out that split. But talk to me a little bit about the fact that Kisee is now playing this Twist of Fate. We know that he has such a big champion pool that he can play the Yasuos and be the explosive individual, but do you echo Rusty's point if you heard where it said, look, give him some global pressure to try and be more omnipresent on the map to try and assist these side lanes?
Yeah, look, we take the regular season as we always do, right? We're preparing for playoffs from day one. So right now, where it's all about us figuring out our new identity, we replaced Shane, Kevy, who obviously was very much a team-defining player, and yeah, we are going to be constantly working on finding out what's good in this game. This is what works best for sure. We have a lot of side lane pressure, and we have an unkillable Jax in the side lane, so it should work out quite well.
That's very exciting. I do agree as well. And finally, would you say it's disingenuous? Would you almost view this as a bit of a form check for both teams?
No, not at all, honestly. It's very early on in the split. Crab is a good player for sure, who's playing into a new role. It's going to take some time to adjust. We're just replaced again someone who formed a lot of our team and will also take some time to adjust. I don't think that it is any indicator of how things will go, but it's still very early on.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your thoughts as always, Sari. Always a good time catching up with you, and I wish the boys the best of luck to close that week too.
Cheers.
I want to quickly touch on the fact that bottom, again, that's kind of expected. I'm surprised they went so hard at level 1 in that skirmish that was on our screens. Not having the jump reset means that it's just going to be a flash used by Puma for no actual kill. And the Ignite was used really early to the point where Gunkrab didn't even use his heal. The point I want to raise is that Gunkrab is the Senna. Gunkrab is not the farming person, so primarily you'll often see the AD player play the Senna because that's familiar for them, and then you'd see the support player on their familiar champion in the Tahm Kench. They just swap, they're both ADs, who cares?
And that's why I was so curious, right, when we went into Champs League, when those champions were locked in, I thought this is certainly some trick that they could have up their sleeve. Whether or not they continue to keep it in this formation as the split goes on, or if they do say Gunkrab this time, you're the one playing the Tahm Kench, but it's definitely an interesting consideration.
We know Violet's been playing support based off all of our kitty testimonials and conversation. So Violet will be at least a little bit familiar with this. Perhaps it was the Tahm Kench that was his gateway champion into the rest of the role. Who knows? Either way, Gunkrab, Violet, just going to be doing their thing, playing much more comfortable for them. Probably best in role champions right now, given the meta and their adaptation to their roles. Otherwise, business as usual. Especially because they didn't die. They're able to farm in the end perfectly fine. Tristana Rell is kind of like a one-punch lane. The punch isn't full lethal.
Get the jump, the flip, the shred. And there is a lot of kill pressure on. It won't be too long before that ignite comes up again for Order to look to utilize for some kill pressure. BioPanther's just gone back to base. He's just picked up a cull, TP back to lane. He's in it for the long run, but he's game. He's keen.
Certainly is. Really waiting for that first punch, though. Top just been farming as per usual. BioPanther with that early teleport is something that will be notable for the next coming minutes, but right now it doesn't mean too much. Kisee, Apii, both very much due for their resets soon. One with enough mana to stay for another wave, however. Kisee, if he does stay, it is very forced. Now's a good time for him, of course, with 42 CS if he wants to recall, get some boots of lucidity. Maybe even Merc traits, depending on how safe he feels. Hit level 6 with the boots, potentially there, but he's going to go straight towards the ability power pathway instead here, Skimmy. So wants to do as much damage as possible instead.
Why not? One of those champions where you can be very flexible in your item choices as well as those summoners as well. LeeSA went to say, maybe I clear out the vision, but Bio's actually burnt a wall just to jump to it.
Apii also, he just face-checked Apii.
Yeah, he
like
did.
to continue to see this.
It's forced a flash.
Yeah, had his ward used in lane, right, to hop away. So never had the ability. Bottom.
Bot lane's on, kill pressure is there. Goodo's on the wrong side. He's waiting for the tower dive. It's just never happened. Over forced this one. He's actually jumped in to try and make it happen. It's a massive thick skin. And then a TP in with the ultimate from Kisee. They don't have it, but look how low the bot lane Apii are.
There's just no synergy in this series of events.
No.
There's nothing there. Goodo could have flashed the wall so much earlier if he really wanted to make that play. The fact that Puma almost died in just the 2v2 and then all of Peace survive. I mean, in terms of map plays as a team, that was quite egregious here from the side of Order.
And nearly every flash has just been burned by Order in literally a minute. It's crazy, the overforce to try and make that one happen. And the fact that you walk away and you've netted nothing, it just hurts.
I think Goodo was realistically hoping that the wave would get crashed right, then you bring the TF, you divers for Peace say no. Like, it clearly feels like a force and they were confident in taking their 2v2, so that's how it plays out. It's a fair map response to seeing, you know, Apii go towards the top side of the map, to seeing BioPanther have to flash away. But if that's the result, then they've lost in 2 places at once. Peace, best foot forward.
Definitely the next chance is for them to strike now and see what they can utilize. Certainly some lanes now for LeeSA to execute upon.
I just want to raise a small point here while there isn't too much happening and a lot of ultimates are burned, because I haven't spoken about this yet, is that Rell is really good into Tahm Kench. One of the reasons for that, and it is one of the more underappreciated parts of Rell's kit that a lot of people forget she even has, is that her Q breaks shields, right? Similar to the Renekton W that you see. It's like a small change that people just forget is real. But Tahm Kench with the thick skin can be completely countered in any skirmish. Breaking shields so valuable. And one of the reasons why perhaps it gets picked over, like perhaps the Alistar that I was mentioning before.
It did seem like a consideration when we saw it in draft as to why the preference was there. Exciting to see if Corporal can navigate it in a position that works in that favor. Glacial Augment has been locked in again, so it's going to be still relatively squishy. Essentially just wants as much lockdown and utility pumped out and says, all right, rest of the team, follow on through and farm these kills. Flash up and available for Puma once again. Violet, well, he's got no summoners for the meantime, but that's not going to deter Gunkrab walking at them and saying, there's a route and there's you, going straight back to base.
Puma's already been phased out of this lane. Violet's taking 0 damage from the Trist auto attacks. Again, I call this a one-punch lane. You're now seeing the after effects of the botched attempts earlier. They were losing the 2v2 prior to the team being there. Doesn't feel like that gets much better for the Tristana yet. And if that's true and Violet gets to stand in front, Senna has the time of her life laning.
Yeah, they're onto turret plates now. Puma's not been allowed to go back to base. And Corporal's being zoned off on the side as he's looking to try and split and hold the line. Elsewhere, topside, you saw before as well, LeeSA lurking in this top river. Apii ready to assist because he's got tempo in this lane to walk away and assist in a 2v1 situation. Goodo would say, well, we want to try and put up some kind of fight for this one. So we're going to say, let's go to that top lane. As you highlight from Joff to assist this Jackson, it's just not enough.
Yeah, the TFult comes out. I don't know if he even threw a card. We didn't get to see that, but either way, the Shroud was there, and the miss prevent that from happening in the first place. Corporal walks up here, so there was obviously that feeling in Order's mind where they've looked at bottom. I think Corporal and Puma both assessed their lane state, and Puma probably said, there's just no point you being here. You're not going to provide anything, we're not going to do anything. See if you can make a play at 8 minutes plus for the Rift Herald. So that's where they go. That's where they put their resources. And the TFult having an attempt top lane doesn't actually find anything. And Peace are going to happily take turret plates during all of this. This isn't something that I don't think Peace ever feel pressed. LeeSA can solo the Drake. And they're just going to continue to take turret plates, knowing the Herald's being done on vision. Why is he leashing the Drake?
Helping hand.
Yeah.
Not phased that whatsoever. Mid lane gone back for a reset. And bot lane is already heavily pushed up. There was no assistance to be found there to try and contest that first Drake off the game. And LeeSA just literally strolls into the river, picks it up quite nicely and says, right boys, good gold lead 10 minutes in. Keep at it.
Stopping the base is nice there from Puma. It guarantees that they have priority in the lane while red side jungle camps are going to be done. I don't know if there would be an invade by any means. And I'm not sure. That Tribush ward from Peace feels like it missed the bush. I'm stuck on that. The other Tribush.
We'll wait and see. Observers will give it to us in a second, but vision is being cleared out. Puma is answering back with some turret plates of his own.
Yeah,
yes, it has missed. Oh no,
bush.
It's a tragedy. Cheeky zoom in, a bit of a tilt from the observing team, but nonetheless, they will be able to keep tabs as to where Corporal is as he roams around the map to try and assist with his jungler. As we look towards top side. Still no boots here. 4TM is all about just the raw combat stats.
Also for the Twisted Fate. I don't know if he's gone for magical footwear, which is certainly an option, but hasn't got the space for it just yet. That could be why he went straight for the blasting R1 in his build, but no boots means no boots of Lucidity rushed, which means a lot less ultimates and movement around the map and changing of summoner spells as well. So, like if that is the choice, 0-0-0, you will see them come up in 45 seconds or 40 seconds.
Regardless, those one punches that Auto have as a comp built and designed to do haven't really found the mark. They've had opportunities, don't get it wrong. They've certainly had opportunities to strike. Coordination hasn't been to the level that they need to try and take down Peace just yet. It's still 12 minutes in. We don't have a first blood. We are looking at that dive, as you say, and it's looking like a guarantee, especially if Kisee gets into the mix of things, which he's here now in a 1v3 situation. You can't hit the gold card. He's inside his inner ring. Apii hits the TP and says, well, if you couldn't do it now, you definitely can't after. Are they going to run it back?
I mean, they've committed to the play, but this is going to take... The sweeper's missing the ward that is in the Tribush. It's so obvious that they're making this play.
Gold card's going to go across. It's been Apii that gets stunned out. A 2 on his head. A Dawning Shadow from bot lane to top.
Viego's here.
Viego's had enough time to literally walk from the fountain up top side. First blood found from Goodo. Bio flashing away. Can Peace answer back? They can't. It's a disengage away, but it was such a long time spent in top.
BioPanther was considering the recall. They're not going to actually commit to that one. Once one more wave, Thien will be able to walk up to this one and presumably just push him back. So Bio just trying to sneak away as much as he possibly can from that one. Look, they committed to the play. They forced the play. They made sure that that happened, right? The Herald charge, the first kill that they get. You take that if you're Order, that's still a win. That's 2 turret plates. That's also the first kill of the game. That's actually a gold advantage that they find for themselves early on, so you'll be happy. And again, a Twisted Fate farming evenly in mid lane is a Twisted Fate with more gold. So there are still positives here. We'll see this fight one more time. Apii actually plays this really nicely at the start, and I actually think wastes his ult. If he held that ultimate, he had the Senna shield that was going to come out. They hadn't committed resources or spells yet. So I think in his mind, he was just expecting an all-in.
Yeah.
But there never was one. And quite simply, Order poking just seeing if they can make it happen, baits abilities out of Apii, and then it was really easy for them to find a kill.
Almost as if too much respect was being shown by Apii, saying this is exactly how you're going to make this play happen, but it didn't happen in that fashion, and that seemed to be their undoing, allowed Order to go for a full disengage without losing anybody whatsoever. And as you see, and as you mentioned before, right, the TF, if you're trading evenly, you are just straight out winning, and that's what we're seeing from the gold graph.
Yeah, 1,000 gold up, just with an assist and farm primarily. Has a plate in mid from the looks of it as well. Overall, Order are kind of winning this game just by taking turret plates. Like, if you really look at the map right now, as we just crest over to 14 minutes, there was 2 plates top. I think there was 2 plates bottom, maybe 3. Mid had 1 gone as well. Very close to the difference in gold starting to be seen from just those plates and CS.
Dragon Slayer complete now for Puma. All summoners available for them if they are to look to try and catch somebody out again. Next Dragon up in 20 seconds. And no doubt now Peace will be thinking, well, we've been coasting along in this game. We've been receiving all the pressure from Order. But we've yet to find our moment to strike now. Inside that ring, this time the gold card doesn't miss. The needlework is there because Thien says, I'm going to die. I'll get as much of these minions as I can before I fall on down. And get a big shot as I redeploy in 25.
Yeah, and this is the big point, right? While Gwen has been doing incredible work into a TF by design, it does get difficult just because the pressure constantly exists. And that is a Jax that will be fighting you at all times. It's really hard to read if there is a TF that's going to be coming up there just because you two, as champions, are just fighting. BioPanther starting to run away with this one just by proxy of his team simply being comped to help him succeed. He is a primary win condition for them. And the Tristana just happily farming and scaling on the other side of the map. So far, so good from Order. I think it's fair to say the execution has been missed more than once, but they're still doing way more than Peace.
Yeah, hasn't been deterred. I mean, really, in those windows in which 4 flashes were burnt, Peace weren't able to find a moment to strike back and say, this is our chance to land that strike. And whilst they'll get that second Dragon, Order had an unguarded turret with that kill to topside. Got the first turret of this game, and what was a comfortable lead from just turret plates alone, now it's actually become a full item.
Yeah, it certainly has. About 3,000 gold is the difference now. Mythics to be seen from everybody in the game, however, and of course the Senna gets a little bit more money than that of Corporal. Corporal going to be a very low resource support champion, so that's something that helps to equalize the gold just a little bit. The one thing that sticks out to me though, Gunkrab needs to be a little bit careful here, do as best he can, is that there's no Cogmore angle for Violet. And this is the first time I think we've really seen Peace have just said, Violet's not the carry. He's going to do a lot of work. He's going to be a frontline absolute fridge, right? Yeah. Playing the TK, but this feels like a bit of a reinvention from Peace, where Thien is more of a primary focus. And Gunkrab is the range champion.
Always been a consideration for Peace when you've got carries on either end of the map. Who do you play towards? Who has to suffer?
Teleports are coming in for the flank here, Skimmy. They could fight for this.
We'll have to see what it means when Apii jumps in like this. Instant frozen tomb onto one person's head. 2 members locked in place. As a result, BioPanther receiving all the pressure right now. Apii goes Godon with his own stopwatch for a meantime. He's going to come out and receive a failed flash across the wall. And Goodo picks him up as easy as you like. Thien answers back, but then gets taken down by Kisee. The Herald has been reset. The fight has gone pear-shaped. An instant cleanse from Kisee with that Sunsfield Cellbook. He says, hello, I'm still keen. I'm running you down. I've got better CC than you, and it still comes across. There's another gold card. There's another kill. There's another flash away. And Peace tried to step up, but they've lost in a 4-for-1 trade.
And they teleport in to make those plays. Quite simply, BioPanther just sees the teleport, turns around, Counter-Strike engaged, and they look for the counter play. And that is massively successful from them. Puma in the area, Kisee straight away with the ultimate, has the gate, gets right into the fight. And there's no such thing as a teleport advantage in that skirmish. You can see it reflected through the damage. Gunkrab genuinely tried his little heart out to carry, but he doesn't have carry items. So he just does 3k with the lethality items. Now, Bio goes in, Apii doesn't self-cast ult. That is generally a cardinal sin right now for most Lissandra. Self-casting buys you more space and time. You can then follow up with the stopwatch. He fail flashes. Puma comes up actually really clutch with his ultimate there as well, kicking back Thien towards the rest of his team. And LeeSA was so focused on Puma that he hasn't noticed the rest of the fight going completely wrong up until now, and it was done. Right? There's just no damage. There's no way to follow up the engage. That just was a little bit rough from the get-go. And those jump resets are there.
That's what you want. And that's certainly what Order needs. As that gold lead, which was 3 before, certainly now becomes 5. And then starts to create a little bit of daylight in this game. And if you look at the total gold one more time, 4 members of Order, a sea of blue. They reign supreme right now.
They're certainly doing. Little old Corporal just getting dragged along in terms of gold. Still setting up some good vision for the rest of his team, of course. It looks like the bot lane outer turret is next in line. And there's going to be no shot that Peace contests that one. In terms of deployment right now on the map, Thien being on top side with teleport means they're going to prioritize the Drake with how they set up their vision control. The question is, do they even bother contesting the Drake? Because yes, they could threaten a soul point, but it feels like this has been the week of Cloud Souls. We got another one. Isn't the highest priority to fight for this one?
What indecision may be costly here for Peace, as Order are showing no signs of slowing down. They hold the mid wave, they prevent Peace from finding a cheeky turret of their own. They summon the Herald bot lane, so that's instant action down that side of the map. They're going to force a fight in the mid lane. The TP comes across instantly. Senna is dead. Gunkrab is gone. The bot lane of Peace just does not exist anymore. And it is a triple kill with such dire consequences.
Did Gunkrab spit himself out towards them? Or did Violet do it? Because all I'm seeing is a Senna that just wants to fight and goes melee range when he could be inside the Tahm Kench. I don't know. That was a weird one. The flash was used by Violet as well. Good flank from Order is the primary. Goodo. They're having fun with this game now, really starting to ramp into it. It's been pretty... I don't want to say the game's been slow, because there's been a lot of things happening constantly, but there's been a lot of non-committal plays. Better watch this again. Violet. Yeah, that's good. That's not good. Was that actually the Wukong ultimate knocking Senna up before he could go any direction? That might be an interesting interaction. Maybe Order have crafted the anti-Senna Tahm Kench Exodia. Rell for the shield cut. Wukong for the engage. Who knows?
Whatever it was enough to cause Peace a bit of a scary prospect now. They're down 8 kills, they're down 7k gold.
Peace have done nothing this game.
They really have not, and that's the most surprising thing. And it's such a concern, right, when teams and other members of this league have said, look, you know, they have some major issues with macros and some investment in towards the late game. Well, if you look at what Violet's played, it has been triple hyper carries, right? It has been as simple as saying, I'm going to play the Jinx to Phelios the Cogmore, and we're just going to win late game.
They almost did something.
I don't want to say it's all about that, but you know, you're not going to find the same success as the Tahm Kench, but they just haven't done anything, and that's a major concern.
Goodo spotted on vision here as well. If he looks for the engage, they would know that it's coming. Apii.
Oh, Apii teasing him with the claw forward, forcing out the rocket jump from Puma, not taking any chances whatsoever.
They don't know where the Jax is. That is a point. He was reset, walking towards bottom tier. Now the wave is crashing, has a moment to move up. And Peace might consider getting vision, if possible, around the Baron area as this wave crashes and they start to show. 5th ult, though.
Destiny is there, and he's going to look to see exactly where Peace are. We know 5 members grouped in mid lane, and they do too. Dragon was conceded.
Yeah, but now the Jax is about to start pushing bot lane. If you actually look at the side lanes right now, top is pushing really nicely. BioPanther is also controlling bot. So you know that Apii's got to deal with top while Thien showing bottom. And you do actually have numbers on any play you want to make on the bottom half of the map. You also still have vision on the Baron pit, right? You've got to control it inside the pit that hasn't been touched. You know that Peace aren't contesting this one. So just by playing the map, you're starting to starve Peace out.
Really clawing scraps, are they? Already so early on into this one. Another turret is going to fall on down. They are falling down like flies. 4 turrets to zilch. It's really been a strong performance to start off here from Order. Despite those early blunders, you know, it doesn't even matter. We never even saw it. You wouldn't even know from the scoreboard at this point.
I think it's just pressure, right? Mistakes aside, the pressure they're exerting onto Peace has just made them crumble. I just don't have an answer right now. It has definitely been a struggle. Once again, I do think the primary focus will be around the Baron pit. If they can get a fight, Peace. Their composition has the tools to teamfight. Probably want 2 items for Thien first on the Gwen. I guess that's going to be the most important thing here. But you've got the Zonias done. You've got 2 items done for Apii, right? So he's ready to go. LeeSA just relying on resets. That exists from Apii and from Thien if they get the damage down. Gunkrab is almost dead from a couple of auto attacks, but if we get a soul check, it feels like he has pretty solid range already.
I'd say about
97
yeah,
at 23 minutes. That's a lot.
It's really good. Well on his way to becoming that late game powerhouse, but it has always been the classic question with a Senna, right? Probably the most broken character. Good reason why you do play this as a pairing.
Yeah,
Sometimes games just don't necessarily last long enough for you to realize all those souls.
Actually going straight towards the LDR second here as well. It feels like Gunkrab wants to carry.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to double down on his DPS output. I think like 120 extra range, and now he's going to be shredding, to be honest.
And if it's not the team fight, what are we looking at? Because for my mind, I'm looking at Thien saying, well, if I can try and take down BioPanther when he's flashless, or if there's no destiny from the TF, maybe I can win that 1v1. I feel a little bit more comfortable in the position.
I don't know if they can ever do that. That's the thing. Like, BioPanther has built magic resistance outright to stop that from happening. And he's group mid.
He is indeed. Kisee's going to take a very advanced position right into the enemy thick of things. He's got a stopwatch. He doesn't even need to burn it right now because he's found his target. The rest of the team has backed him up, and they are just wiping the floor with peace. That's a self-cast ult this time into Azonia's afterwards. He can't even cast it. He's CC'd forever. That's the first ace, and it's a perfect one at that.
I mean, it's probably GG at this point. They've got 4 minions to work with. BioPanther all too happy to tank, probably with Goodo here as well. There's a stopwatch for Kisee, so if he starts the tank off, could transition to the minions afterwards. They've got time here, I think, to just end this game.
25 minutes in, the scoreline is 14-1. What a stomp. I mean, for lack of a better word, there is no other way to say it. Peace existed in this game, and Order just went fulls at them.
I mean, that was a whopping L. That just isn't the piece that we want to see. It's not the piece that we expect to see. And we know right now that Peace aren't playing at their best. If ever there was a time to get wins against them, it's now. And Order just make it look pretty casual. Any mistakes that were made were their own. It felt like communication.
Yep.
Otherwise, Order just controlled the map from go to woe. There was nothing. I don't even know if Peace were playing.
I mean, from what we mentioned is it could have been a game highlighted as a form check. It just seemed like from all the mishaps that Order have had, they just kind of played the game and ultimately it just won itself.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of confidence coming through there when they saw Violet playing support. I feel like, you know, the bot lane Puma probably just had like a lot of weight lifted off his shoulder. We noticed it as well. I Rusty noticed it after the coach interview. We were sitting there in the green room like, wait, Violet's on the Tahm.
Yeah.
That's not the carry. What's going on here?
We even got juked, right? Because when I had the champ select with all the comps locked in, it did say Violet was on that Senna. So that's when I rose the point about maybe they could switch because they are 280 carries traditionally. But then we get into game and yeah. I mean, Gunkrab did play his little harder. Don't get that twisted for a second, but only one kill the entire game.
It was, yeah, a bit of a rough affair. Apii not performing to the extent we're used to seeing him perform. Again, look, we said before the game, LeeSA had to lift. That wasn't happening, but look, let's talk about the positives as well for Order. They've had a couple of rough games themselves, but they were taking every advantage they could here and looked like a damn good team with Bio pretty much playing in that carry position today, Kitty.
I actually really like the Order composition coming into today because we see the Rell, it's a direct counter to the Senna Tahm Kench because of that shield breaker Q. And we saw that interaction in mid lane where Wukong provided that knock-up where Senna would just get insta-knocked up when she got saved from the Tahm Kench. So this was a really well thought out team comp from Order, and something kind of different coming out of them is that BioPanther was the strong side this game. He got all the attention from Kisee and Goodo, where he was able to win a quite a easy matchup. Would you say it's easy matchup for Jax?
It's
like
actually
matchup.
very 50-50. Yeah, it's entirely a skilly. Like, you have to be a really good Jax to even pick it into Gwen. Most of the time Gwen wins, but TF changes everything.
But yeah, this is our second time also seeing a Viego and it's 2.6k damage. So is Viego a trap pick?
Has Viego broken 3k damage today?
Ooh,
Impossible challenge?
That's a good question. I don't know if he has, which is a little bit sad to think about, you know, considering he was such a strong pick in the past. Seems to still be thought as a strong pick. I do notice Lissandra was open, and LeeSA usually is a bit of a nasty.
Yeah, but I think maybe his mental after last night, right, was a bit like, well, we'll leave that one for the rest of the week. So, yeah, I'm not sure. It's not good to see a Viego doing that little damage.
It's just one of those discussions that, like, you can have That being said, Trist there on Puma as well, all that disengage that Trist provides to that bot lane, keeps it safe, keeps Puma alive. And yeah, getting to see Bio playing a more carry-centric champ rather than the tanks that he's pretty much known for seemed to be key. You had TF there on Kisee as well, who unfortunately couldn't get that combo off, TPing in to help that top lane as much because Gwen was immune. So that just happened.
Yeah, it's funny. During the draft, I always said you could put the Gwen mid. Like, I actually think that is playable for Peace if they wanted. Because if you're going to reveal the Jax, you're red side with a counter pick, right? You've shown Senna, Tahm, Kench. Why even 5P Lissandra when you could perhaps put a counter for the Jax top lane?
You certainly could
have that out there.
But look, we do have someone on the line where I guess we could ask him the same sort of questions. We got Corporal here to have a quick chat too. Corporal, how you feeling after that big game on Rell?
Hi, good, thanks. Yeah, amazing, actually.
Getting a nice W in there nice and early. Kitty?
Amazing on that Rell. And I kind of want to talk about the matchup that you guys just played. So it was Tristana, Rell versus Senna, Tahm, Kench. Was this a thought out process where the Rell was a direct counter to these two combos?
I think, well, Senna, Tahm, Kench is obviously very strong these days. And I think with Tristana and Samira especially, Rell is playable into her usually bad matchups. So Tahm Kench is pretty good at versing Rell because you can't get on him very consistently unless you have flash. But with like all-in champs like Tristana and Samira, you no longer have like problems playing to just always be aggressive. And so like this combo does counter Senna, Tahm Kench in my opinion.
So we got to see Bio on that Jax today playing a bit more of a carry-centric role. Are we potentially going to see more of that coming through with your comps going into the future?
I mean, I think we showed it last split as well. We had Tryndamere versus PGG, Tryndamere versus Gnar, and we played TF to play for topside. I think people always have a misconception of Bio that he's like a weak side player. And I guess I also had that slight misconception too at the start of the split, but I've seen his Aurelia, like his other carry champs, he's a really good player. And I think just because, like the meme, he's a weak side Titan, he can still pull out the strong side, and I think we would just play to the strengths of our comp every time.
And talking about Titans, we need to know for the boys, because we haven't seen this pick being picked in LCO so far. Are you banned from playing Nautilus?
I think it's a bit rent-free in Kisee's head, but otherwise, no, I'm fine with it.
It's specifically in Kisee's head. You love to hear it. You love to hear it. Anyway, look, we'll let you go, Corporal. Enjoy the W, and let's see if this trend continues for Order.
Thank you. I hope so.
I'm sure he would hope so. I feel like all the Order fans out there would probably hope so as well. But it was good to see change in pace, a more dominant win. One that I feel like we kind of needed from Order over Peace today. Peace's performance has been in question, but so has Order's. However, Order have now knocked out a lot of those early games against the top of the table teams. So we might see them make a resurgence on that leaderboard pretty quickly if they do play like they did today against a lot of the lower table teams.
I would say this puts Order as a top 3 team, 100%, right? Like that just locks them in, kind of just reestablishes themselves. They had maybe a shaky game here and there. Their first game was a dominating win regardless. Now I just look at Order and I say they're definitely still a top 3 team, and there might be some shakiness as they readapt to having Goodo, as you heard.
Yeah.
But it's inevitable that they'll find their feet, and if they can do it at the right time for playoffs, then still contenders for the title.
Well, we need to talk about contenders, but this time for the Dare MVP. Who are we thinking about for this one? Bio, Goodo having a really good game there on the Wukong.
Yeah, it was really good to see Goodo and Kisee linking up really well together, right? I mean, we've heard multiple times from him. It's either a case of, we need more time to figure out how we're going to work as a partnership, or, he needs more confidence in his ability. He's a very different player to Kevy, all the rest of it. And absolutely, you're going to have all those at the start of a split, but it was a great comp to execute, right? If you are going to play a Twisted Fate and a Wukong, you've got one goal in mind, find a target, go at them, and that's exactly what they did. I'm going to probably say, give it to Goodo. Newest player on the team. Vote of confidence.
I'm agreeing on that. I'm pretty sure Goodo was the initiator for a lot of those team fights where he got the perfect angle. He did a lot of flanks, especially on that mid lane where he hopped over the walls. So it was quite a good game from Goodo. Okay,
well, I think we're all on the same page here. Let's give it to the man with Jungle Kingdom, the man with the monkey in hand. That's Goodo. Man, just farming up a storm here today. Deathless as well. Yet another Deathless Dare MVP. Coming through. 92% KP is a very, very beautiful number for any jungler. Means he was definitely mobile, definitely getting in amongst the action in today's game. and he's certainly deserving of this one. Rusty, any extra words for the big man in the jungle?
No, I mean, I think he played really well. I give a special shout out as an aside to BioPanther because I think he just played a solid game, right? Didn't really die himself, just did what was needed of him while the team played around him. So I think everyone on order played pretty well. Maybe one mistake here and there for them to VOD review, but that's a quick 5-minute job. They're happy. Yeah. And they go back to scrims.
It's one of those things, right? I feel like, wait, Peace only got 1 kill, right? So
on Bio.
that was 4 teams, all 4 players rather, all going deathless this game for order.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, I wouldn't say unheard of, but not very oftenly heard of, at least for like these teams in the LCO. Usually it gets a bit more chaotic, a little bit more messy in these team fights. I haven't seen too many super messy games so far. We seem to have relatively dominant performances from a lot of the teams so far this split. Now we need to start to turn our sights to that 4th and final game of the night as well, though. How do we expect that one going is the question I'm going to ask you guys after the break, because it's time to close your eyes, go get yourself some water, you know, hydrate. It's what you need to do. And we will be back just after this with the banger to close things out. One of these teams with a W finally happening just after the break.
Very advanced position right into the enemy thick of things. He's got a stopwatch. He doesn't even need to burn it right now because he found his target. The rest of the team has backed him up, and they are just wiping the floor with Peace. That's a self-cast ult this time into Azonia's afterwards. He can't even cast it. He's CC'd forever. That's the first ace, and it's a perfect one at that.
I mean, it's probably GG.
Hey, look, Menulog.
I've always told the team that like it's literally now or never. Like we won't have another like split 1 2022 like MSI chance. So like literally get in this game and do your best, and that's all that matters. And like have no regrets after. Because if you have regrets after, then like you've already failed throughout like the whole process of like the split. So just put in all the effort now and make yourself shine. And like I know these guys can win, and I'm just really pushing them to their potential.